With astoundingly majestic appearances and endless luxuries ranging from double-stacked swimming pools to personal submarines, there's no doubt that superyachts are the pinnacle of extreme wealth. Typically distinguished from regular old yachts by the classification of being more than 80 feet in length, the colossal, ultra-lavish superyachts of the super-rich make flying first class look cheap. And I've gathered the most expensive and luxurious of them all for your viewing pleasure. From yachts so big they need backup ships to mega boats that cost over $1 billion. Let's sail away aboard the most expensive superyachts in the world. La Perla, $3,200,000. This is La Perla, a charter yacht that costs $80,000 per week just to rent. This jaw-dropping superyacht looks like if a 1920s steamboat had a baby with a 1970s imagining of the spacefaring future. And considering the $3,200,000 price tag, you'd certainly hope the boat offers something special. Boasting 130 feet in length, there's plenty enough space to comfortably sleep 26 guests, all cared for by a crew of 9. Like most superyachts, this hired crew will consist of a mixture of deckhands and stewardesses and a technical crew like the captain, engineers, and chefs. When the owners or guests are aboard, the crew routinely work 14-hour days, ensuring the ship's sleek wood floors and surfaces are spotless and that the ultra-rich clientele's every desire is catered for. To keep things steady and comfortable, La Perla can only sail at a maximum of 13 knots, with all diesel cylinders burning. That's 15 miles per hour for all you land lovers. But a slow pace is no problem here. After all, you wouldn't want the masseuse to slip while you're enjoying your personal massage parlor, would you? However, as much style, comfort, and luxury as La Perla may have, believe me, we're just getting started. And if we're talking superyachts, this beautiful boat is about as cheap and minimalist as it gets. So let's sail onto some real money, shall we? Ad Astra, $10 million. This is Ad Astra, a superyacht designed for speedy ocean voyages with a fairly modest $10 million price tag. This speedy seafaring vessel proudly sports 140 feet in length, with catamaran-esque hips sitting comfortably at 53 feet wide. Its unique trimaran shape, meaning it has 3 hulls, makes the ship tremendously fuel efficient, with its designer claiming it only uses 1/7 of the fuel a regular yacht of the same size would normally use. This is partly because the ship is incredibly light for its size. Being mainly made of expensive Kevlar and carbon fiber, it weighs only 49 tons, which you'd usually expect from a 60-foot boat, not a 140-footer like this. Still, compared to other superyachts, it's not huge, but it's intelligently designed. The comfortable interior easily sleeps 6 guests between 1 master cabin, 1 VIP cabin, and 1 twin cabin. The perfect setup for a family looking for adventure on the high seas. And once she hits the waves and gets a chance to open up, the aerodynamic hull allows her to cruise along at speeds topping out at an impressive 23 knots. There's no point at all to this speed if your ship can't go far. But this ship has a range of 4,000 nautical miles, meaning you can cross the Atlantic from France to the USA in one go at high speeds. Although bouncing up and down for 4,000 miles doesn't sound too appealing, even in a luxury vessel. Would you take that trip? Let me know in the comments below deck. Odyssey, $35 million. Odysseys come in all different shapes and sizes, from ancient Greek sea voyages to expeditions into the cosmos. Somewhere in the middle floats this $35 million superyacht. Designed by and built by Italians, this sea-bound mansion sporting the Odyssey name can be kept ship-shape with a very low annual running cost of $3 to $5 million. Pocket change, right? Like most yachts, those running costs are spread over endless fees, including maintenance, fuel, dock rentals, supplies, staff, and more. But it's all made worthwhile by one awesome feature. In the beast's extravagant belly hides a truly seaworthy secret: a boat cave. The perfect space to hide away Odyssey's tender, which is a nautical term for a smaller boat designed to ferry passengers and equipment to and fro. Skipping across the water at a max speed of 16 knots, with a more casual cruising speed of 14 knots, the Odyssey embodies a journey of ancient Greek proportions, especially when you consider her nautical range, 3,000 to 3,200 nautical miles, would have sailed Odysseus from Troy to his home in Ithaca several times on one tank of fuel. This luxurious vessel stretches an impressive 190 feet from stern to bow and houses 4 VIP suites and 1 master bedroom. So there's plenty of space for a minotaur or 2, plus a crew of 14. Talking of mythical beasts, if you stick around till the end of the video, oh boy, do I have a mind-blowing vessel of the sea for you. Costing more than private islands, castles, sports teams, a family trip to space, and the White House combined, the mega super yacht we'll be getting to shortly is not to be missed. But first, a stunningly luxurious ship that'll leave your jaw on the bottom of the sea. Lady Linda, $44 million. I once fell in love with a lady called Linda. She was tall, wide, obsessed with knots, and floated pretty well too. On second thought, I might have been in love with a boat. This boat, to be precise, this is Lady Linda. Built by Posilipo Yachts, this Art Deco masterpiece has an elegant interior sporting an ocean's worth of luxury materials: burl wood, Lalique glass, and polished stone line the inside of this exquisite lady. Damn, that sink has got to be bigger than my bathtub. And what will all this Art Deco wonder set you back? Well, only a few million short of $50 million, coming in at a modest $44 million. Linda's asking price is stretched across a respectable 157 feet, as she needs room for her 4 equally sized and comfortable guest suites, separate from the lavish master suite, totaling up enough space for a recommended 10 but doable 12 guests. Attending to the vessel are 13 to 14 crew members, ensuring a smooth ride from dock to harbor. The perfect space for hosting small parties, Linda features 2 bars and an ultra-elaborately paneled dining area. And if Linda's cruising speed of 22 knots isn't enough for you, she's fully equipped with a speedboat and a jet ski. Lady Linda, you're a thing of beauty. But wait, who's this sailing over the horizon? Tatiana, $100 million. The Tatiana is where we separate our millionaires from our multi-millionaires. She costs an even $100 million, plus $10 million annual running costs. As we've already seen, super yacht running costs usually vary from boat to boat. As a rule of thumb, you estimate running costs will be roughly 10 to 20% of a yacht's initial price. Fees can quickly mount up, though, as mooring alone can soar to an eye-watering $17,000 per day at ultra-high-demand spots like Monaco during the Grand Prix. On top of that, with administration, insurance, and a lot of fuel to worry about, if you're not sure whether you can afford to maintain a super yacht, you can't afford to maintain a super yacht. For those who can, though, this queen sits at 262 feet long and 40 feet wide, and is designed with the utmost luxury in mind for her 12 to 16 guests. The 30-foot swimming pool transforms from open air to an indoor pool, utilizing the massive hinged rear wall for a sea view swim, and the extendable space at the side for lounging and drying. And no, your eyes don't deceive you, there is indeed another pool directly above the main interior pool. When Tatiana's guests aren't swimming, they're probably in the onboard sauna and steam rooms. However, given the Tatiana's semi-global range of 7,500 nautical miles, let's hope they don't spend the whole trip in there. By the time they've docked, our guests are going to look like prunes. Yes, $180 million. This next super yacht queen is called simply Yas.
Yas, Queen.
This affirmatively named vessel is 463 feet of pure force and was originally a Dutch Navy frigate, keeping the seven seas safe from any pirates who dared to break the peace. Known in its glory days as HNLMS Piet Hein, the soldier served its time in the Dutch Navy before being sold to the United Arab Emirates in 1998 for $180 million. Since her 2013 renovation, however, her value is estimated at closer to $200 million. It's a price that makes this bad boy's $10 to $20 million annual running cost seem cheap. Like a star quarterback being traded, this fast, maneuverable ship initially changed its name to Al Emirat and its flag to UAE, but it kept its nickname, Swift 141. That's because she's fast, really fast. Utilizing modern diesel power and variable pitch propellers, she cruises along today at 20 knots, pushing it to the max at 26 knots, making her one of the fastest boats in the world for her weight range. To rudely discuss a lady's weight, this beauty tips the scales at an impressive 5,002 tons. That's about the same as 2,500 Ford Tauruses, in case you were wondering. Now, how did this ex-Navy boat get to look so pretty? Well, once in the UAE, luxury yacht builders ADM Shipyards were tasked with replacing Swift 141's steel superstructure, so everything above its hull. They replaced it with a single structure made of a blend of materials, known as a composite structure. While 141's specific materials haven't been publicly stated, in modern shipbuilding, polyester and vinyl resins are often used, as well as glass-reinforced plastic and carbon fiber. So she's likely sporting some combination of those. What we do know is, Yas's composite superstructure ended up being the largest of its kind ever built, allowing for a fast, light, and ultra-spacious superyacht. To match its spectacular core construction, Parisian design studio Pierre Jean was put to work to enlist an old soldier into the ranks of modern fashionistas. The ship's focal point, the giant glass dome, is the owner's cabin, which sports a completely round bed. Boasting 30 cabins for the lucky 60 guests invited aboard, Yas has 56 deckhands to ensure each and every guest is satisfied with military precision. Despite Yas now living the high life, she still hasn't forgotten her serious roots. Hidden below the surface is a boatload of the best military-grade equipment money can buy. Long-range underwater sonar, heat vision, and super-advanced night vision are only but a few of the gadgets Yas has to play with. Did somebody say sonar party? Oh my god, my ears! Anyway, you might be wondering, why is Yes called Yes? Well, it's never been publicly revealed, so your guess is as good as mine. I'm running with the idea that the president of the UAE is a massive RuPaul fan. Yes, Queen. Lonayan and Hodor. $215 million. Sailing into sight now is the 285-foot-long Lonayan superyacht, costing between $150 and $160 million, with another $10 to $15 million annual running costs. This gleaming superyacht has some tricks up its sleeves. Undoubtedly, the centerpiece is a one-of-a-kind glass swimming pool with a translucent bottom that, get this, doubles as the ceiling for the beach club below. As well as that piece de resistance, the Lonayan also has a custom-made jacuzzi, which doubles as an icy plunge pool to jump in after a quick round at the bridge deck gym. Unfortunately, we don't have access to the ship's interior as the owner wants it to remain private. But there's still plenty of remarkable things we do know about the Lonayan. While the superyacht has space for a helicopter, it doesn't have much storage. That's when Hodor comes in. No, not that Hodor. F's in the chat for that Hodor. Hodor is Lonayan's official support ship, always lurking in the background on voyages. Carrying the mothership's toys on its 217-foot hull, toys like extra helicopters for when you feel like exploring distant mountaintops, or a 56-foot chase boat with high-performance engines for when you have a need for speed. Not to mention 5 smaller speedboats called tenders to transfer guests and belongings. On top of all that, Hodor's got its own submarine, ready for undersea exploration, and a whole swath of jet skis, all-terrain vehicles, and dune buggies. Hodor is classified as a shadow boat, meaning it's from the Shadow Realm. No, wait, that's wrong note, sorry. It actually means it's one of the Inket Crother's Shadowcat boats, specifically designed for supporting larger vessels. With cabins enough for a 20-person crew and a variety of staterooms, this fully customized pack mule has been meticulously designed with the comfort and safety of guests aboard the mothership as paramount. As a result, Hodor also houses a fully decked-out hospital suite, complete with decompression chamber and diver support equipment. Hodor is one extremely expensive pack horse, coming in at a price estimated to be somewhere between $30 and $55 million. So together, the Lonayan and Hodor mount up to a sizable $215 million. And if you're wondering whether Hodor is named after the real Hodor, unfortunately, it's unconfirmed. But given it carries stuff and supports the main character, hey, it seems likely. Support vessels are common in the superyacht industry. Support boats of all sizes, like the Axis from Damon Yachting, can often be spotted trailing along. Designed to support ocean, discovery, and environmental projects, the Axis carries a Triton submersible and an Icon A5 aircraft. Measuring 181 feet long and 30 feet wide, this ship has supported a ton of different projects, including this Sunken Treasures expedition, where a whole load of historic gold was found. Now that's a vessel I can get behind. If anyone needs support on their Sunken Treasure expedition, I'm your guy. Motor Yacht A, $300 million. This is Motor Yacht A, a boat that's been dubbed the ugliest yacht in the world by the Wall Street Journal. And looking at its stumpy form and weirdly large forehead, it's not hard to see why. Reportedly costing $300 million, its Russian oligarch owner named the vessel imaginatively A. Now, the owner's story is that he did this because both his and his wife's names start with A, Andrei and Alexandra Milnichenko. However, the more likely reason is it was to get ahead of the competition. Being named A puts the ship on the top of shipping registers, so docks and marinas will find it super easy to locate, label, and sort, and it'll typically speed up the docking process for the owner. As for the boat itself, stretching its uniquely designed hull a respectable 394 feet, the razor-sharp tip of the A smoothly slices through water with more of a majestic edge than you might initially expect. Racing forward at 18 knots, or rather, gently gliding, as it was seen doing through London's Tower Bridge in 2018, Motor Yacht A has a range of 3,000 nautical miles, with 42 crew members tending to 14 guests residing in 7 luxury cabins. The owner's cabin is only accessible with a fingerprint lock and is protected by bomb-proof glass, because that's just how Russian oligarchs do it. Below deck, you'll find this indoor small boat parking to admire your other boats while you ride your main boat. Man, anyone else starting to get the impression these ultra-rich folks might just slightly like boats? Nord, $500 million. This is Nord. Originally named Project Opus, this 464-foot vessel is a mighty boat with a bit of an action-packed recent history. Resembling a Soviet warship after a very expensive weekend with the plastic surgeon, this superyacht has long-range autonomous cruising capabilities, 2 helipads, and a sports and diving center, giving it everything it needs to sail the 7 seas forever. You think I'm joking? Its owner, Russian billionaire Alexei Mordashov, was sanctioned in 2022 by the international community as a result of Russia's military activities in Ukraine. This meant he needed to get out of town fast. The Nord was spending its winter in the Seychelles, an African country made up of 115 islands, and part of the British Commonwealth. So, being in a port politically connected to Britain, Nord risked being impounded. Mordashov didn't want to lose his yacht. After all, it cost him $500 million. Plus, he already had this $71 million yacht, Lady M, impounded by the Italian authorities following the same sanctions. To escape from the Europeans, Mordashov had to get creative. So first, he changed the ship's flag from the Cayman Islands back to Russia. Changing a ship's flag and the country it's registered to is actually quite common on the high seas. Ships have to abide by the rules of the nation they're flagged to. So, if you're Russian with a boat flagged to the Cayman Islands, and suddenly the Cayman Islands introduces new rules to impound any Russian-owned boats, you can see why changing back to a Russian flag might be desirable. After reflagging the ship, Mordashov paid for $465,000 worth of fuel. That's 91,000 US gallons, or the equivalent of filling up your car 4,500 times. Once full, he, or rather his crew, powered it to Vladivostok in Russia. The journey back to Russia took more than a year and involved carefully timing and coordinating stretches of travel to avoid any sanctions or seizures. This was achieved in part thanks to having the ship's location transponders, which are devices found in every ship and used by the authorities to locate them via radio or GPS, disabled for 8 months. Once the boat arrived, Russian customs boarded the yacht to inspect it. Shortly after, these rare photos of the inside leaked online. They included a hangar full of hovercrafts, submarines, speedboats, quad bikes, and landing ships, full of ready-to-drive 4x4s. So basically, absolutely anything you might need to make a rapid getaway on land or by sea should any trouble arise. At the time of writing, the Nord was last spotted cruising in the Persian Gulf just outside Dubai. Luckily for Mordashov, Iran, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar aren't involved in the Russian sanctions. So it should be plain sailing for his $500 million yacht in that part of the world, for now. I guess for now, all Mordashov can do is sit back, relax, get a tan, and wait for it all to blow over. Eclipse. $1.5 billion. This is Eclipse, Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich's $1.5 billion yacht. Yep, you heard that right, $1.5 billion. While some online sources value the mammoth vessel as slightly lower, most reliable evaluations easily break that billion-dollar mark. The $1.5 billion extraordinary valuation makes this the most expensive yacht in existence. This 533-foot yacht earns this price both in style and because it effectively doubles as a warship. Built to withstand attack, the ship comes with bulletproof glass, anti-paparazzi lasers which fire targeted beams of light to ruin any photos it detects being taken, and a mini-escape submarine hidden in its belly for those clandestine exits. What's more, the Eclipse is rumored to have a built-in missile defense system. Well, you would think having a missile defense system is illegal, and for the majority of us it is. For those who have enough cash and a few more connections, laws are more like guidelines. AST, the company rumored to have installed it, have issued statements trying to justify these kinds of builds by suggesting that pirates target private yachts, and so the yachts should be able to defend themselves. I'll let you guys decide whether that justifies a military-grade missile defense system in the comments below. Either way, Abramovich certainly seems to be justified in being concerned for his safety. In 2022, Abramovich survived an attempted poisoning, so I'm not surprised he opted for the full security package when buying his yacht. When not hiding Roman from assassins, the ship has plenty of space to host guests and hold parties. Having enough room to entertain 36 people, then 11 cabins to sleep 22 of those lucky guests, this beautiful superyacht stands as one of the world's prime specimens of obscene wealth and luxury. Attending to the owner's each and every need are 70 members of a full-time permanent crew. And I don't even have one lousy assistant. Anyways, the yacht was built and designed by the legendary Hamburg-based Blohm & Voss, the same company who built the Nord. Known for mainly building ships of war, Blohm & Voss are no stranger to coming up with mind-bendingly striking and aggressive designs. However, it's not all cannons and machine guns. Sometimes the team at Blohm & Voss just let their hair down and go a bit crazy. Recently, they teamed up with Iraqi-born architect Zaha Hadid to design these futuristic concept yachts. Vessels of elegance and beauty, and looking like a kind of floating Yeezy sneaker, these ships, which are purely graphical renderings and don't currently exist, represent Hadid's first step into the superyacht industry. Up to now, she's been building a name with her imaginative cars, tables, bottles, vases, and jewelry designs. Maybe her partnership with Blohm & Voss signals the way for a new look for Germany's navy. I mean, what's the point of fighting pirates if you're not going to look good while you do it? Super duper future yachts. Over the next decade, the superyacht market is set to get a little bit wild. Case in point, this is the UAE-1. Being built to ensure monarchs and diplomats are extremely comfortable, this work-in-progress concept yacht is expected to have a final build cost of $543 million. When you're sitting on oil money, however, that's just a drop in the barrel. Once built, the UAE-1 will split its 30,000 square feet of opulence between a whopping 9 decks. This 459-foot floating castle is set to be outfitted with 3 spy-proof meeting rooms and a titanic amount of tinted glass, letting you know it means business. That is, if it secures the funding to be built. This next concept yacht, by contrast, shows it means business by the fuel it uses. This is Earth 300, a 100% emission-free research superyacht, powered by relatively small and portable nuclear reactors, a little like those used in nuclear submarines. The colossal 984-foot-long ship will be just short of 200 feet high. That's as tall as a 20-story building. Its height stems from the 13-story science sphere, that big black capsize risk in the middle of the ship. Inside the sphere will be 424 scientists using 22 high-tech laboratories to study climate change at locations around the world where its effects are felt most. And all for the reasonable price of $631 million. While the ship's designers have claimed they plan to launch in 2025, there's been no sign of actual construction yet, so you've got time to get yourself a PhD and earn a spot aboard. Although, if you're into more lavish living than science, this next concept is for you. This is a proposed billion-dollar ship called Streets of Monaco. This 508-foot road is built around the Grand Atrium, a beautiful area housing a casino, modeled on the famous Casino de Monte Carlo in Monaco. This concept was dreamed up by Yacht Island Design, who are responsible for this, the tropical island superyacht. This concept will make 10 guests feel like they're on a private tropical island, while en route to an actual private tropical island, just in case they're too impatient to wait. So far, neither of Yacht Island Design's beauties have caught the eye of any investors, and given the billion-dollar price tag estimated for each, it's not super surprising. But hey, If crazy yacht ideas are being thrown around, I mocked up some of my own Be Amazed Yachting Co. designs. What do you think? I value them at $2 billion, and anyone who's subscribed gets a free ticket. Once I've hit 100 million subscribers, I'll 3D print these boats in my buddy's garage. But funnily enough, I won't be the first to dabble into the idea of 3D printed yachts. This is Pegasus, proposed to be built by 2030, and if constructed, will be the world's first 3D printed solar and hydrogen-powered superyacht. This 288-foot-long, 4-story superyacht will be built around a 3D printed polymer alloy composite filament mesh, a fancy term for half-plastic, half-metal frame. Its triangled frame structure will allow light through the entire boat, ensuring that no matter where you are, you've got plenty of light and plenty of views. Although, that also means that if you switch on a light at night, those outside may be able to see inside. Imagine looking out at sea at night and seeing a guy in the toilet pose just floating. Spooky. The boat will use mirrored glass, perfectly reflecting its surroundings, leading to it being dubbed the world's first invisible yacht. So where does the solar power come from if it's all covered in glass? Well, believe it or not, the solar panels will be inside the glass, a type of technology that's currently being developed. They'll generate energy that will be used to convert seawater into hydrogen, and that will then be utilized in fuel cells to power the ship. If you think that sounds futuristic, well, get a load of this. This is a flying pyramid concept superyacht called the Tetrahedron. Measuring 70 feet long and 82 feet wide, once the Tet reaches 15 knots, its hydrofoils begin extending, and the hull will be lifted above the surface. Hydrofoils are underwater fins designed to generate lift, kind of like an underwater airplane, raising the boat's hull out of the water, allowing for higher speeds with less drag from the water. Despite seeming futuristic, hydrofoils are already found in many real-world boats, and yep, they look just as cool as you'd imagine. Once the Tetrahedron gets moving and hits 38 knots, it'll glide along the water's edge, making it one of the best superyachts to both speed through the deep seas and chill in the tropical shallows. Imagine if you had to suddenly stop the yacht at a top speed, though. Ew, yeah, on second thought, I prefer my boats to float, not fly. Thank you. Dawn of the Giants. Some real-world superyachts can be gigantic. Jeff Bezos's 417-foot superyacht, Kourou, for example, was so tall that when it was built in Rotterdam, they couldn't get it out to sea in one piece. The problem was that their masts were over 230 feet at their highest, taller than the maximum elevation of a drawbridge blocking the way out to sea. Bezos's team suggested demolishing the historic bridge, offering to pay for its demolition and rebuild, but that idea didn't go down so well with the residents of Rotterdam. The locals organized public opposition and threatened to protest and throw eggs at the yacht if the demolition went ahead. Ultimately, the local government refused to dismantle the bridge, forcing the yacht to remove its masts for the journey. I'm not sure why they didn't just do that in the first place. Talk about more money than sense. The yacht was then towed out to sea under the cover of darkness to avoid any possible lurking eggs. Now, getting the yacht from its super yard to the sea is always a tricky operation. This next yacht is so long, however, that it would undoubtedly need to be built at sea. This is the Somnio, a $544 million mega-yacht luxury residential liner, a blend of superyacht, cruise ship, and residential home. It'll stretch to a gigantic 728 feet, surpassing all other residential liners. Somnio's 30 rooms will be sold separately as luxury invite-only residences with a price tag starting at $21 million. The rooms will range from 597 square foot apartments through to 3,159 square foot homes, as well as the expected super yacht amenities, The Somnio will have a 10,000-bottle wine cellar ready upon launch, which is estimated for late 2024. That's right, this crazy concept is actually being built right now, according to reliable sources online, though we're yet to see any official photos beyond concept renders. So take those launch date estimations with a grain of salt. Now, if you prefer your mega yachts even more gigantic, this concept yacht is so mind-bogglingly ginormous that they made a new class for it, calling it a Terra yacht. This outrageous idea, named the Pangios, has an estimated construction cost of roughly $8 billion. Yes, $8 billion.
That's a lot of nuts!
For $8 billion, you could buy a private island, a few Picassos, the most expensive house in America, and the Miami Marlins, and you'd still have more than $5 billion left. Measuring 1,800 feet long and 2,000 feet wide, Lazzarini, the designers, want to make the Pangios a turtle-shaped floating city-state that'll accommodate 60,000 people. The Terra yacht is still in the early funding stages, but hilariously, a fully functional digital version can be visited on Fortnite. Plus, if you want to help, you can buy one of their NFTs, though my lawyers have told me to say that might not be the wisest financial decision. Still, the creators promise that anyone who purchases a digital asset will secure a chance to ride the real thing. When it's done, of course. In the meantime, you'll have to settle for one of the other absolutely absurd super yachts we've seen today, which actually do exist. Though whether or not they should exist is a question I'll leave up to you guys in the comments below. If you woke up to find $10 billion in your bank, which super yacht would you buy? Drop Anchor down in the comments, as I always love to hear what you think. Don't forget to press that like button, and if you're not already, hey, subscribe. See you in the next one.